So I wish you all the best and appreciate you all for joining in this course. This is a small webinar for 1 hour's time that we will be just looking into the outline of project management and why it is important in every one of our lives, in our careers, to build up our careers, to become better professionals. So here am I today to take you through this journey of project management to see and understand how we can manage the projects effectively. So it's a life science or a life skill that I can say uh, that we need to understand how projects can be managed. And it's definitely a wonderful career that you can opt for when you are looking for as a project manager. We have various designations that we can look forward to once this course is completed. So as you all know that how we are going to master this modern project management, we would look into certain things. But before we really jump into it, I would like to quickly highlight on things of how Regenesys would assist you in helping in your careers. So you all understand, and I'm sure that you have done a little research on Regenesys Business School. This was founded in 1998 by Dr. Marco Sarvana, Dr. Penny, and Dr. William Vivian, who have their visionaries, and their purpose is to make a better place for by developing conscious leaders. So we believe in holistic development of every individual, and as an individual, you are an important aspect. So we would like to see how equipped, how conscious are we intellectually, emotionally, spiritually, financially, physically, and also professionally. So for this, to provide this kind of service, we try to bring in various courses to the youngsters and also the professionals so that they can empower themselves. So right now we are actually growing and uh, started with the business school, then worked on to corporate education, public school, law school, school of technology, school of finance, school of education. So it's growing as per the needs and requirement in the market. Regenesys is trying to spread out its wings. Now, in digital Regenesys, which is also part of this whole group, we provide upskilling courses, and they are short-term courses which will run for 2 months or 3 months max, and you are certified to on some special aspect, whichever specialization you would like to be. So this is our goal and motto, and so we would like to see all of you all being part of this uh, journey in Regenesys. So as I was talking about, we being the core, in as each person is being the core of every learning or every development, we believe in this integrated leadership and management model, wherein when an individual is empowered physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually, they try to influence the team, and the team in turn would, when they bond together, they build a relationship, they trust each other, and they start performing, and they become a very high performing team. And when they start performing, they try to uh, achieve the vision and mission of the institution. When they grow, ultimately their culture, system, structure, all of them improve, and that also helps in the development of the economy. Basically, see how we can move into being a global citizen to be part of that global development, and how to be in a global business. So to embrace this as individuals, we all need not have to have a position, but we are all born leaders. Like nobody would like to follow someone else, but would like to lead. So to build on this aspect, we try to empower or awaken the potential of each and every regionian who joins us. And that potential, when strike out, we have certain graduate attributes. It's this short-term course may sometime would be very may not be sufficient enough for us to focus and develop on these attributes, but definitely consciously we keep reminding in every session about these attributes, like how we can make a difference by thinking differently, leading consciously, harnessing the diversity, then how we can compromise ourselves professionally. Always being professional is something very unique, and also having a global outlook, wherein this terminology says that we are adaptable, like we are aware of multicultural uh, cultures that are existing and how we embrace them and become responsible global citizens. So understanding the local realities and then trying to implement it in this world is something very unique and should be followed. So that is where this global outlook really affects. And then every decision, we need to be knowledgeable. So every decision that we take should always have these aspects of being well informed and being knowledgeable, so that we can really add value into the classroom. So these are some things that I always we are reflecting. So in Digital Regenesys, apart from this project management course, which is an introductory and an advanced program, we also have data science, artificial intelligence, cybersecurity, digital marketing, full stack development. These are all technologically built programs, which are now added and they are going to be part of our uh, lives. So being equipped is something that we need to really venture. So first of all, as we have come into the project management, let's look into the benefits of project management, how we are going to manage it. So a few ground rules. Certainly, your cameras and microphones are muted because of the bandwidth issue, but you can use chat widely. You can keeping me abreast about what your queries are, and maybe by the end of the session or during the session, sometimes I will look into the chat and try to respond to your queries. So projects, as you know, they're unique, they're dynamic. So that is why we have to manage the projects is something that we need to understand. So here we quickly look into to try to define and understand what project management is and how in this real world wherein things are changing, how are we going to really accept or uh, how we are going to adapt to the new culture is something that we need to be abreast of. So that is the reason we look forward for this aspect of how we have to handle the project. So to manage projects, we need to understand what a project is, why it is different from the regular operations that we do. So that is the reason we try to define here. So it's a temporary endeavor wherein we talk about accomplishing a unique product or a service, and that within a time period, specific time period. So that is the reason the attributes of project are their purpose is unique but temporary. So we have to finish it. Either it could be 2 months or 3 months or a year or a two, or maybe a long-term project can go to 10 years, 15 years. But then there is always a deadline to it. So it has to be completed. And the resources that are required are also limited because there is a budget given to that project and we have to stick onto the budget. And since it is temporary and always a unique one, how much of our experience that you have, every project is a new project. So we need to handle it with conscience, careful aspects about not getting into scope creep or not really unfocused or unplanned, so that the project, if it fails, then the whole responsibility falls on the project manager. So that is the reason projects are very important, and they are expensive as well. The investment is too high. So there is a lot of uncertainty since it is a long period in the future, and we do not know what may happen or may not happen. So it involves that uncertainty. And that is the reason we have to manage projects effectively. So in project management, as we try to define it, it is an art of organizing, leading, reporting, and completing a project through people. This is a very basic definition that we can give, that it is an art of organizing. And it's all about people. Without people, it's difficult for us to understand how we would be able to manage the project. So it has to be a planned undertaking, and it's always about the project manager who is responsible for things that have to happen or not happen. So project manager takes a very important role, and the need, or how we whether the project can be successful or not, is planned according to as per the risk taken by the project manager. So it has to be a planned undertaking that can happen. So we believe in certain standardization of projects all over the world. So that is the reason we always take the guidelines of PMBOK. PMBOK is a book of knowledge which gives us all the terminology and concepts and guidelines to manage the project. So all over the world, you go anywhere, the terminology is standardized. And that is the main reason why this library has been set up, so that project managers can always refer to it, and they can communicate all across in every uh, area or any part of the world that these projects are uh, that understand the same language. So most of like all of the details are documented in this book. So we call it as a guide to project management, or you can also call it as a Bible of project management. So here it is authorized by the Project Management Institute, which is a well-recognized institute, and they build build the standards in project management. So as per the need and as per the uh, changes in this world, these guidelines keep evolving. And so concepts would all be accepted. It is a generally accepted project management knowledge and practice. So we apply all of this, the practices of project management into it. This is how we believe that as projects, we are entitled, or we are supposed to work in a particular focus. And that is where this triangle comes up, wherein we talk about the iron triangle. So we call it as an iron triangle because that is the only parameter, one of those, the three constraints that we reflect on every time to measure the success of the project. So that is the time, quality, scope, cost, and the scope. Scope is to what extent can the project work on. So this cost, time, and quality have to be maintained to see that the project can be successful. We work on this 9 knowledge areas because those are all important to manage a project effectively. And these are coming up in a framework wherein we concentrate on all of these aspects on how we are going to uh, understand these knowledge areas. So basically, we try to see that the project, these 9 knowledge areas are functioned effectively. So all of them, they have to be managed. So starting from scope, then time management, cost management, quality management, human resource management, communication management, the risk management, and then the procurement management. All of them simultaneously would be working in different stages of the project. So every project will have a life cycle. And in that life cycle, all of these have to be managed accordingly and effectively. So in the iron triangle that we were talking about, apart from uh, these key aspects, the cost, quality, and time, we also have included, or we realized lately that there should be something else that has to be added, because that is another very important constraint, and that is stakeholders' needs. The expectations of the stakeholder have to be met. Only when the project is liked by our sponsor or the stakeholder, only then we can say that the project is successful. For that, we also focus on this stakeholders' need and expectations. And how we are going to achieve the scope, time, cost, quality, and all of this, we need certain tools and certain techniques so that we can achieve it. So integrating all of these knowledge areas is very important and unique to see that the project is completed. So we build a portfolio. Say, for example, constructing an airport. It can be one of those projects that we say, but that could be one of the programs. And as a new government, the government will have its own portfolio. Portfolio is a set of programs that that have to be accomplished. So those programs will be related. And then if we talk about building an airport, now there are many projects in it. It's not just about building an airport. There is an equipment that has to be built. There is a structure that has to be built. So all of these can be said to be as projects. So many related projects all together will form a program, and that program is one of those of the portfolio. So the government portfolio can have building up a school, building up a hospital, building up an airport. So out of these portfolios, individually, one of all of them are programs. So just trying to differentiate and tell you about the difference about projects. And in that program, there will be related projects, say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All of this would be in one package, and that is a program. And that has to become successful. So there is a program manager, there is a project manager. So they keep abreast of what are happening. And the project manager would report to the program manager on the status of the project. So ultimately, each and every project out of that 6 projects, they have to be successful so that the program is said to be as successful and the portfolio is completed. So when we are talking about projects, the main issue that we have to see is what are those elements? Now, the whole, you can say that project management has completely transformed. There are new trends which are coming. The landscape has changed. It's not just about projects. They are related to the business that is being carried. So we need to understand what is that strategic thinking that the organization has, so that the project management is also running in parallel to achieve those strategic goals. So these are certain questions that have to be asked by the project manager. He or she needs to review this. Like, where is your business currently? And what do you want? Where do you want that to be? Where do you want to take it? And to go to that place, what are the strategies that we need to implement so that we are going to reach that goal? And in this process of building up a strategy so that we take the business to a certain level, how can project management guesses? These are certain questions when asked, like you can start working on the project as an individual project so that as many as projects that work and they are successful, they all come and meet together to accomplish the strategy of the organization. So as I was talking about the project management life cycle, it consists of 5 stages. You see in your the management role, there would be only 4 stages. But for projects, there's a 5th one, which is the initiation. It's not just planning, organizing, controlling, and monitoring and closure, but now there is initiation. So whether the project can be successful, is it worthwhile? Because there is a lot of investment that we are going to put in. So the basic work has to be done, like how we are going to initiate. So project initiation is something that may run across for a few months, but then we are working on certain uh, aspects to understand what is the cost of it and how much of benefit that we are going to get. And this will help us to take a decision whether we are going to take it up or not. The next stage is the planning. Then the planning is also very comprehensively done so that this plan would continue throughout the project life cycle. And the longest, however, would be execution stage, that is the time of implementation. And in case if there is any change that has to happen or anything that the risk that is involved in it, they all keep happening at the execution stage. And the 4th is control or monitoring as well. It's not at this stage, but it starts right from the beginning only. And how it is being carried out, whether the plan is being carried or not, all of this would be worked simultaneously. And ultimately, the project has to be closed. Until the project is closed, we cannot say that the project is completed. So we need to be mindful that project closure is also a very comprehensive process to document many things, and there are a lot of closure activities that we would be actually seeing into in detail in our program. So this is just an overview about what we are going to handle in this program, and we would like you all to be part of this learning and to be certified from the project management uh, team, so that that will help you in your career. So this one is how during each phase, what are the things that we do. So at the time when at the initial stage, even before it is started, like we build a business case and see what could be the complexities of it and how we are going to utilize these uh, sections. So the tools that we use is business case, project complexity, value, and the portfolio. Here we determine whether the project can be taken up or not. Will it add value to it or not? Then at the initiation stage, we start building the tools, like understanding, starting a document called as a project charter, in which all of those documents, including the business case, the project portfolio, everything has to go into the charter so that anytime that we refer back, we always have those documents. And we also have stakeholder assessment that we need to, who could be the stakeholders and what are the risks involved. Everything has to be done. And who has to be reported, or who is accountable, who is responsible. The RASI matrix also helps. Who can be consulted and who is informed. So RASI is an acronym which says responsible, accountable, uh, and who has to be contacted, and then who has to be reported. So inform, sorry. So communication is something very crucial in project management. So we need to draw what kind of communication are we going to do, plan up. How are we going to communicate? How often are we going to communicate? To whom we are going to communicate regularly, and to whom you may only keep updating. So these have to be defined. That is where the stakeholder assessment also helps. And then planning, as we said, like it includes a lot of aspects to plan. How we are going to control our funds, and what is the schedule that we are going to build, what is the risk that we might have, managing quality. So there's an outline of all of these that would be worked. And during execution stage, it's important that we need to report what is being executed and how it is being worked to the management. So we build on status report. Then if we have any issues, we'll build up a document which and manage these issues. Any changes also have to be ensured. So these are those stages in which we talk about. And in the closure, it is the transition period, lesson learned, and the closeout. Now, build on these aspects now at the execution stage or at the planning stage, how we are going to work on these aspects, we need to utilize certain tools. And these tools have to be worked on to see that we manage the projects effectively. Just give me a moment. Apologies, there was someone at the door, so I just had to take a short look into it. So as we look into the tools, we have many tools that are utilized to see that the projects are worked out effectively. So we will actually discuss on these aspects in detail, like when we start up a course. So before these aspects are discussed, it's just the outline that I would like to mention on these tools. We will work on them in detail when we are going to build on this. So certain tools that we use are Gantt chart, and then the WBS, which is called as a work breakdown structure. Then we look into network diagrams. These are very like the PERT, CPM, and all of those network diagrams also would be mentioned. Then we have the Kanban board, which effectively works like when we talk about agile methodology, we talk about this Kanban board as well. Then how to measure risk, whether the risk is too intense or can be managed or can be avoided. All of this we can build by building up this risk matrix. Then we have timesheets, dashboards, project reports, PERT and CPM, as I mentioned, historical data and reports. These are certain tools that we would be utilizing it for the projects. So uh, this is just an overview. We will talk about it in detail when we are in the program. So a small tip into what this work breakdown structure that I am talking about, it tells about how one big project is divided into different phases. And under each phase, there are certain work packages that we do. So when these kind of divisions are done under each phase, each person is responsible for the work that they do. So it is very important on how we are going to, who will be managing it, what are the resources that are required. So how much of business has to be worked on. Everything will be clearly reflected in this work breakdown structure. So extension of the work breakdown structure is a Gantt chart, which tells us timeline. So this is a Gantt chart wherein we are pictorially representing it. So what is the activity that we are going to do, when we are going to start, how long it is, and the end date. And accordingly, it is marked. And when these kinds of reports are developed, they are actually uh, given to the management, and they need not have to read the whole report. They might not have so much of time. And as project managers as well, they will be handling many projects simultaneously, related ones, so that it covers the whole program. So they look forward for these reports. And when we are working on these reports, this is very easily understandable, and it can be very effectively done. This can be worked on Excel as well, which we will discuss in the program. So network diagrams, as I was reflecting, it is said to be as a graphical representation of what work comes next, for what we have to wait. So we build up a prototype of it, and then we see what could be the maximum time that is taken to accomplish all of these functions. So do we have a float or a slack between projects? So we work on these activities and build up a path, and that is called as a critical path. So that critical path will tell us to what extent, so for how long we are going to uh, complete the project, and what are those constraints that might have, how we are going to wait. So there are many paths in this diagram. If you see, there could be 3 paths by the time we come to uh, the final 10th step. So in this 3 path, what is the most critical path wherein we cannot compromise or delay any of these functions? And that is the first path that you see, 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7, 10. So that could be the critical part. So we determine and then try to work on the timeline. So how we crash these activities and all, we would be looking into in the program. This is a visual board usually to manage the workflow. Kanban is one of those agile methodologies which we call, which are very effective to manage the workflow. What is the backlog, what we are currently doing, and then what is supposed to review, and then what has been done. So there is a small YouTube video that I have actually attached, but since there is a challenge of time, right now we are not able to play, but later on you can access it. This is risk analysis, wherein we talk about how impactful the risk could be and how the probability of it happening, the likelihood of it, of certain things that are risky, how effective or how likely it is to happen. So we have this low and high, and we determine like what are the actions which have high impact, because when they are having a high impact, then they have to be taken due steps on how we can avoid it or how we can mitigate it, how we can be prepared. So the most challenging one would be high impact and high likelihood. And so we draw out all of those activities and see how we can manage it. Sometimes we may the likelihood of it happening may be very less. So instead of spending so much of time on things that may or may not happen, we may have to consider it. And when the risk is low, the impact is very low. We need not have to spend too much of funds on managing this. So that is the reason we actually try to see how we can manage risk. So this helps us to work on budgeting better. Then the other tool that is effectively used is how we are going to monitor. As I said, monitoring can be done throughout the project life cycle. And this can happen when we set up our objectives correctly and choose what tools are we going to use to manage it. And then what is the data that has to be analyzed? If things are not in the right track, what actions are we going to take so that we pull back to the track, and then there is work that will continue. And then sharing the progress, how to monitor on real-time basis, and how we are going to improve continuously is very important. And the strategies have to be adapted and engage the stakeholder. These are very comprehensive ones because, as we know, we do not like to report or someone to control us in the same way every professional or every employee would like to do that. But as project managers, it's important that we monitor so that we are not going off the track. Ultimately, the project has to become successful, and that is the motto of the project manager. So here we will also discuss about stakeholder management, which is crucial because the stakeholders are the important decision makers who can invest into the project. So again, how we manage our clients, they are the major stakeholders. Then we also have ones who manage this project. They are the project managers. All of them will be identified as stakeholders. Then we have the management team, then the project which works on it, and the whole project stakeholders. So we build based on this our ways of how we communicate. There's a stakeholder matrix as well, and that stakeholder matrix would be discussed in detail. So coming to managing people, this is something very important because people are part of the project, and without people, the project cannot be done. But for projects, since projects are dynamic, there are people with got good experience, but they all are coming together to work. Since they are all experienced, it's very difficult to groom them. So usually when we get into a project, we need to open up to learn, unlearn, and then relearn on whatever needs are there according to the project. So there will be a challenge in managing the team. As soon as they come together, it's where they initially would be at the formal introductions and other things. So that is the forming stage. By that time, they will not really show off their colors. But in the second stage, they want to prove themselves. They want to see that they are recognized. They whatever their suggestions are have to be adapted. So this is where they start storming. And suddenly when they keep fighting among themselves, they realize that they're wasting time and it's ultimately not happening that the project can be completed. So slowly they start norming, realizing everybody are important, everybody's contribution is important. And once they realize that, they start performing. And later on, we adjourn. So a quick peek into the chat. I'm sorry, I was just going along with all these slides. So yeah, we will be sharing all the slides, but okay. Maybe I had to move that slide, but yeah. So everybody who has joined from different places, I thank each one of you all. And yeah, to talk about the project management and program management, as I was saying, this was asked by Siddiq. A project is one single project, but program is a collection of projects. So program management is a bigger management, and we will discuss about it in detail when we are getting into the course, because there are many aspects that have to be discussed when we talk about program management, because continuously there will be around 6 or 7 projects that have to be worked so that the program would be completed. So all of them will have different project managers, and they all have to keep abreast their discussions or their developments together so that they can complete all of them on time. So even if one project in the program is not completed, then the whole program would be delayed. So that is why we need to have a program manager who can have the responsibility of trying to monitor all of them. So, okay, I see that most of you all were talking about the slides, and one thing Victor has is, what strategies can project managers use to embed cyber resilience in project delivery from the planning phase onward? So Victor, we are moving to that phase, and when we are discussing that, definitely I'll try to answer this. your question, surely. All right. Okay. I was just running through your chat, and Abdullah has a question like, what cultural, social, and political factors should we choose when engaging them? And uh, if you're talking about the managers, it is about their experience and uh, the proficiency that is required for projects. It's not about the culture or other aspects, but we need to look into their ability of their performance. So their history is something that we usually reflect on. Okay. So thank you for participating in it. We are moving into the methodology. And this is something very interesting. The waterfall methodology is a traditional methodology. So here, the whatever actions that we do or the job is sequential. It is in every manner. So it's difficult for any changes to happen. So it is very simple and they are not changing at all. What it is like a waterfall, one step after the other. So you see in the steps, first the requirements would be addressed, then the design, implementation, verification, and then maintenance. So they are said to be as traditional match for a project manager. But when that is not possible in real times because there are many changes that happen, maybe because of the change of the government, maybe inflation, uh, because of the policies that changed overseas. All of them would actually keep changing and the dynamism of the project also would increase. So Agile is said to be as the one wherein the changes are embraced. So even that has certain phases like working on the requirements, then plan, design, develop, release, and then track and monitor. However, in every stage, wherever there are changes, the team is ready to embrace the change. So it's a continuous cycle. There will be a very collaborative team, a high functioning team, so that they are ready for the change. So Agile is said to be as something more flexible and it keeps evolving continuously. So here the customers are involved effectively. So in Agile development, we are waiting for any change and it is embraced. But when it comes to waterfall, the changes are very simple and they cannot change. So here, both are two extremes. Now we need to look into certain aspects where waterfall is important at the same time agile as well. So we talk about hybrid methodology, that is both waterfall and agile together. So that is what we will look into. Now, what is project management in 2025? There is a change, huge evolving change in the landscape of project management. We talk about AI, we talk about automation. Now, these have become the game changers. So nowadays, AI is said to be as no longer an option. So the projects have to be managed, and they look forward for the automating, so that the scheduling, the reporting, how to manage the resources, how to manage the risk, everything has become now the AI, which helps like smart allocation. So there are a lot of AI tools which are now giving a project manager a little free space, and then the project manager so that they can work on this creative work. So here there are little analytics that are involved in AI automation, like the predictive analytics, the chat bots, dashboards, and all of these. They would be discussed now when we are discussing on this project management. AI has to be included, and our course would include AI from now on. Then we talked about this hybrid methodologies, agile plus waterfall. So the shift is not about which one is better, the agile or the waterfall, but it is about a blend.
blend of both, because there are advantages in waterfall, there are advantages in agile. So there should be a combination. So now the teams are building up in combining these two methodologies and building up a proper structured planning using waterfall. And then they are also looking into the different cycles that are accepted in agile, so that whatever fits the best for the project is accepted. The third one nowadays in the landscape that we see is how we are collaborating with this cloud-centric tools. Now, we talk about certain tools like Asana, Smartsheets, Trello, Monday.com, right? I will just quickly show you those aspects also about these softwares. These are said to be as cloud platforms, wherein even if at the moment that they are foundational, they are helping us to bring in the changes, real-time updates with no problem in the integration and how they are being collaborative. So this is where this real-time tools are being accepted. So this is project management now is evolving. And we talk about democratization and streamline adoption. Here, how familiar are we with this smart sheets is very important, because when it is automated, we need to be at ease to adopt to this aspect. So we need to become specialized. So using the dashboard and how there could be some automated alerts, or then certain templates that are built, so that for a project manager, it becomes accessible to manage everyone. And it's not just about the PMO office which looks into it, but the project manager as well. Then we also have this elevated role of this soft skills. Automation has become a routine, all right? And building up these soft skills is very crucial. For a project manager, apart from the real-time tools that we have, now the focus of a project manager would move on to how to develop certain skills, like how the power skills can be maintained, like the leadership, emotional intelligence, then effective communication, how adaptable a project manager can be, so that they move around in all of the team. And another important aspect that has come up, which is reflecting, is the sustainability. How we are going to embed the sustainability and the consciousness of all of that companies towards the ESG. ESG is nothing but it is environmental, social, and governance. Those are the goals, like how we track our resources or the wastage or the carbon that the organizations release, like the factories and others. How are we going to manage the waste? All of this has to be very specifically and consciously maintained. So we have data-driven insights and good emphasis on cybersecurity. Now, when we go digital, okay, there is always a cyber risk. And that risk also has to be managed. So how we integrate the cyber resilience that just now one of your colleagues has been talking, from securing the data, sharing their portfolio, and how we are trying to encrypt these portfolios so that nobody else can utilize this. So we need to authenticate it and then work on it. So cybersecurity.
And the PMOs and the value-oriented reporting. How are we going to report? Ultimately,
aligned with the organizational goals. If there are any changes that are happening in the organization, also even the project would be affected. So how we are reporting, so that there is a value to it and everything has to be. Ultimately, it is about how AI and the machine learning, they actually predict everything. What are the project outcomes? how we're going to optimize this resource allocations by utilizing this automation tools. They have to be streamlined. So it's important that we, as project managers, need to be upskilling our team and look forward for the professional growth. So investing in different AI certifications, the data visualization, the different technologies, how we are going to work on the leadership, it has to be reflected very effectively. So overall, like we see that it's not about for the project managers to just tick on options, like there is a checklist and you keep, has it been done, then next, then next. So it is no longer about the ticking of those things. Now it has become dynamic. Now you have to keep changing and work on this powerful tool. So you see that when the survey was done, there's almost 77% of the organizations who are using these kind of project management software. They are in sync of the scope, resources, time, and all of these, and they are high performing projects. So it's important that it has to be adopted. We talked about different softwares. It could be a desktop program, mobile application, web-based, visuals tools, any of these collaborative ones. So it's important how we're going to choose these kind of software. There are a lot of softwares that we spoke now, but how are we going to do it? Need to check in 5 points to consider to select the better project management software. How easy it is to use? How can it be trainable? People who are working, can they train it? And how it can help in managing the task effectively, then communicating with the team. Visual dashboards are very effective ones. And the user interface, is it effective or not? These are certain things that we consider while we select the best project management software. Quickly looking into a few softwares that we spoke about when the landscape is changing. These are some soft tools that have to be worked, like Asana. They are very friendly and user-friendly, and they have good informative tutorials as well. And it's easy to task certain assignments and then track them, how to manage the resources, how to collaborate, and all can be easily understood. So we have a dashboard to customize and then to look into the timelines, what are the project tasks that have to be completed, everything can be done and colorfully done so that we identify them easily. They definitely have certain shortcomings. Maybe sometimes there would be challenges, like it definitely may have certain lack of documentation, editing features, but then overall, definitely an online support problem is done. Sometimes the functionalities also have certain challenge. And then the other one is a Basecamp. Even this is one of those smart tools that we would discuss in detail in the program. So shortcomings, or the lack of budget and time management. Documentation also has a problem, and managing time and expense tracking. These are all certain milestones that are little difficult. So this Basecamp, however, can be used for high collaborations, and there is a need for other softwares to support them in different. So the whole comprehensive project management phases, all of them will not be covered in Basecamp. Jira software, a very versatile and very accepted software. Here there is a certified training program which is given and an online support for it. And it actually gives us a very good task prioritization, helps in task building up tasks, and try to be very informative software. And it is easy to customize as well according to the needs of the project. Still, it has a few shortcomings, a little hard to learn. It definitely needs training. And then it is complementary within the market space. So with budget management, it's a little expensive software. There could be some problems, but then overall, this is one of the best options for agile project management. Then we have Trello. It also has a very long list of uses of tracking the tasks, how we build it, and then track them so that we are managing them effectively. So task assignments are very easily done, and it's also easy to learn. We have a lot of training webinars which help us in learning it very easily, and they have high collaborative abilities, and all of the information is stored in the cloud. A few shortcomings, however, the task management is limited, the communication structure is weak, sometimes the expense tracking also, it doesn't have time to do that, and the client doesn't have a portal, reporting system is also limited. We have Ride, which has a similar aspects of task assignment, resource features, time expense tracking. So it also has certain shortcomings as well. Microsoft Project is also very useful and very popular software, and it helps the project manager to plan everything, how to assign resources, tracking the progress, managing budget, many things. So you would be given a demo aspect on how you can work on the project software. Here we come to the cyber resilience, and this cyber resilience is something once the AI has come in. Now, how are we going to really work on the cyber security? This is something we as project managers need to be equipped and need to be prepared on how we are going to manage this. So in projects, why does it matter? Because nowadays there is a lot of heavy reliance on digital tools like the cloud, AI, and automation. So projects are unique, and the information is out when it is in a digital form. So how we are going to protect it? So it's the ability of the projects to prepare to withstand, recover, and then adapt to these cyber threats so that there is a minimal disruption. So there is a lot of regulatory and demands and the client demands which are growing. So maintaining it gives trust. When we have the cyber resilience in projects, there is a trust by all the, we can say, the clients, so that they rely on our projects. And then the other aspect is about remote working and hybrid working when it is being done. So there is always a risk of the data being diluted. So it is important that we need to have control of these things so that the reputation and the trust is not at stake. So how are we going to, as project managers, our role is to prepare. So we really cannot avoid it because that is part of the world, and the automation is part of our, we need to adapt to this new world culture. So what we can do, we can prepare by including this risk in the risk register and the vendor checks. Then as project managers, we need to protect, always see that we have secure platforms and we are in control, have access to it. And the staff also have to be trained. They have to create a staff awareness so that we are consistent and we are protecting our data. Then have certain tools of how to detect in case if there is any cyber alerts. So monitoring and alerts and audit logs are important. And how are we going to respond? How quickly can, in case if there is a cyber attack? Okay, so we need to work on how quickly can we respond to it and what are the things that we are going to do. So we need to be prepared for it. So we need to work on this response plans, who has to be escalated, who is necessary, and their communications also needs to be planned well. Then there should always be a backups, like the recovery continuously. We need to show how we are going to react when there is a cyber attack. So continuous drills have to be done, and list out what are the lessons that we have learned. This is how we can build a cyber resilience. Then the best practices, what we can do is embed the security into the project charters and governance, then align with these regulatory frameworks and look into it, then simulate certain incidents so that you work in the workshops on these aspects so that we protect ourselves, and always have a track on resilience, how we are going to detect and what would be the response time within which we are going to react. Ultimately, we have actually come to the end of the session. It's almost time. So one important aspect, apart from all of this, the last stage is the closure step. Okay, again, it has a process. Need to completely update everything that has happened right from the beginning. So there is a documentation that has to be done. Everything the charter has to be open, the project charter, and all of those details have to be once again verified. We have a steering team, the audit team, which comes in and checks all of this, and then the documents are done. And then the documentation has to be archived in case if for any future response or reference, we have these documents that we can look into. Say, for example, we have some agreements that are there. So we retrieve those documents when we have any problem, the AMCs and other things. Then all the closure has to be done completely, like the legal, administrative, banking, everything has to be closed completely so that we can say that the project is ready for closure. And the team also has to come together to build on their appraisals and find out where they might have built there were certain mistakes done, or so there are certain developmental strategies, and then the team also will be positively closed. Lessons learned is something that is very, very unique in every project, so that these are not repeated in the next projects, so that they are actually protecting themselves into certain corrective actions. And once these are done, we go to the sponsorer, and the sponsor or our client, when they are happy, they are ready to close it and sign off the document. So these are the project closure steps, which are very, very important for the project to close. All right, 3 minutes. We are topping up on our time, but kindly excuse me for going beyond. But then wonderful response and questions that you have given. Hope you all have enjoyed it, and definitely please do not stop. Ask questions, and anything that you want to inquire on or anything that you would like to look into, you can get in touch with the admission team for you to. And I wish you all the best, and I would like to look forward into your admissions into this program, because it's quite an effective and an extensive program which every manager needs to have. And it's not only the managers, everybody who would like to grow in their careers, this certification is very, very useful. And all the best. I see that there are almost like 200 participants, and I look forward for all of those 200 admissions as well, because this is a life skill. And please do not miss this opportunity, but join in the course as soon as possible. Thank you so much for your attention, and have a good evening. Thank you. Thank you. You can get in touch with the admission team for the next process of how we are going to, So leave your details, and the admission team will definitely get back to you, to each and everyone. All the best then. Bye.